Good morning. So we're on baby watch. I have a couple goats due this weekend, and one of them likes to give birth a couple days early according to my records. Today is Thursday. Schwenli is due on Saturday, so we're getting real close. I've been so focused on the goats though that I kind of forgot that it's March now and I need to start my spring and summer garden. So we're going to be going through a little bit of my baby watch routine and starting some seeds today. But first, someone's baby needs a bottle. You want this? And if you're wondering why my sweatshirt is muddy, this is why. Right here. It's still early to collect a whole lot of eggs, but we did get a really pretty dark Moran's egg this morning. Well, the peas have started to come up in the garden. I did plant a small little plot of radishes. I don't see those coming up yet, but I did see some asparagus the other day. And here's the onion sets we planted. They're looking good. Good morning, kids. Good morning. Last year we planted this beautiful juxtaposition of tulips next to the pig pen, and I'm really happy to see a lot of the tulips have come back this year. I worried about them a little bit during that really hard freeze that we had, but they did great. Good morning. Good morning, sweet girl. Good morning, girls and Mars. How are ya? So it is going to be a little bit dark in here. Normally it's kind of dark in this little corner of the barn, and it's also cloudy today. But I'm going to try to show you exactly what I'm looking for when I am assessing the goats and their readiness to give birth. So this here is Schwenni. She's due on Saturday. The first thing I'm going to check on her is her ligaments. So the goats have a ligament that goes down from the base of their tail to a bone that's right here on their back end. And that ligament is usually really, really tight. I can feel it in there, but barely. And as they get closer to giving birth, that ligament really softens up. It softens up so much that it seems to disappear. So I'm also going to be putting a hand on her udder just to feel how tight it is. I've got a gauge because I've been touching her udder for the past few weeks. So I've got a gauge on where her udder is normally, and when she gets really close to kidding, it's gonna fill up much more with milk and get much more tight feeling. Oh yeah, you're looking pretty big today, Mama. You're putting milk in your udder today, Mama. Schwenli is one of my more skittish goats, so I've got to put you down somewhere where Calamity is not going to eat you, so I can really get a good handle on her, because she could be having her babies tonight or today. So she's jumpy today. She's not normally that jumpy, and that can be an indicator of impending labor too. If their personality kind of changes one way or the other, something could be going on. So her udder's not super tight. I do feel her ligaments in there. They're just really, really loose. So she's getting close, but then so is her due date. Come on. How are you? This here is Tempest, and Tempest is going to be a first freshener. Her due date is Sunday, and so I'm going to check her ligaments as well, and she also doesn't like it. Come on, I got to check you, and then you can come out. Maybe. Oh yeah, her ligaments are really tight. They are. Come on. You can come out too. Come on. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Schwenni went to go have her babies tonight. It just so happens that we're having a decent thunderstorm overnight tonight. So of course that would be the case. So Shveni comes from a herd of goats that was a hands-off herd. They didn't help with kidding, or they didn't deworm them. They didn't do anything to the goats. The goats were just kind of wild on their property. And so she comes from a long line of goats that have given birth without issue. And this will be her third freshen, so I'm really not worried about her. This is her first time having standard size kids. And if she does have a giant buckling in there, it just makes me a little bit nervous. So I do have a baby monitor up in the barn. It's right up here, and it can see over right about 2 kidding stalls. It can't really see all of them, but I'm having a hard time seeing in that back stall where Shveni is, so I think I'm gonna have to move that. We are really fortunate to have electricity in our barn. There's quite a few outlets, and so I can move the monitor around. Good morning, Calamity. So it's been a couple hours. Shveni's udder is definitely ballooning up. Oh, be sweet. Christine. Come on. Mayhem. Come on, Mayhem. Good girl. Good girl. Come on, May, quick. No. So there's quite a lot of foam on top of this jar. It looks like there's about this much foam. It'll work out to about 4.5 or 5 cups total from our 3 girls that we're milking right now. Farrell, our little bottle baby goat, he's drinking 3 cups of milk and 3 cups of milk replacer every day. So there's really only about 2.5 cups that we get to have for us every day. So we're very eager for Shveni and Tempest to give birth, and it won't be long now. Usually to make the things that I like to make, well, fresh milk just for, you know, drinking it in recipes, but also butter, cheeses, and things like that, I need to get about a half gallon a day at minimum. So we're clearly really far from that, but not for long. So thankfully, even though she's a little bit skittish, Shveni's really good about hopping up on the milk stand when I want her to. And when she's up here eating, I can get a much closer look at her. So one thing that I'm noticing is that it looks like she's dropped here. So this is her room inside, but she still does have, you know, a uterine horn on this side. So this hollowing I'm seeing on both sides. Oh mama, this is a good indicator. I do still feel a little ligament right here and a little ligament right there. Yeah, barely, but they're there. It's still, there's still a softness to her udder, but she's absolutely putting some more milk in her udder. So it would not shock me if she had babies tonight. So yeah, she's more okay with her udder being touched in this situation because she is used to being milked. Look at that. It's gonna get bigger. I've really started to scale back the amount of hay that I'm feeding. It's been unseasonably warm for the very early part of spring. Actually, I don't even think we're technically in spring yet. But we do have a lot of green coming up in the pastures, and the goats seem to be keeping on top of it quite well. There's actually quite a few longer patches of green, and so I am weaning them off of hay. Are you ready? Dolly, right here. Come on. Nope. Good girl. Good girl. So as far as the little La Manchas go, these does are 1 year old and they are going to be first fresheners this year. I am starting to milk stand train them, so Talia is getting the idea of what this milk stand is going to mean. So when I am stand training the girls, I like to get my hands on their udder as quickly as possible. Usually the milk stand training just starts out with me petting their legs, and as soon as they're comfortable with this, I'll start placing my hand on their little udder to be and getting them used to being touched here. Talia is very good at this, and I can even pretend to milk her a little bit. This way. You gotta go that way. Good girl. Calamity. Come here, ma'am. Come on. Good girl. Ready? Go ahead. Wrong way. Very good. Sort of. You almost got it. Come through here. Come on. Come on. Through here. Good job. Calamity is the least okay with this situation. So you can see she's kind of tucking up a little bit. She's doing pretty well. See, I can get a hand on it, and I can feel that she does have the tiniest bit of udder development. She's not due until mid-April. Appy! Come here, Appy! Good girl, come on! Good girl, come on, Appy! No towel. Come on. Good girl. Go on. So I may have lied just a little bit earlier. I think Elpis is probably the least okay with her little baby udder being touched. Elpis had a really hard year, her first year. She had a lot of sickness and a lot of injury, and so she's really gun shy of this milk stand. I have tried and am trying to make it a happy place to be, and so I really don't want her to be stressed out. Usually, or this past year, I stuck her in this head catch in order to kind of mess with her a little bit, to give her medicine and to like change her bandages and stuff. And those aren't fun things. Getting a snack and getting pets are fun things, and so we're just working on that. I haven't really been able to touch her little baby udder yet because she's still not comfortable with me touching her legs fully, and I want to get comfortable with that first. We need to take baby steps. So it's a little bit later now. Farrell has gotten his afternoon bottle, and I've gone ahead and checked on Schwenli. She hasn't really changed from this morning, which is a good thing because I really need to start my spring and summer seeds. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse so I can just get this done. I did go over the varieties that I'm planting this year, and what I'm working on today is actually the stuff that needs about 6 to 8 weeks in order to get to a decent size where they're filling this cup up. So I'm doing tomatoes, peppers, huckleberries, a few different flowers, and things like ground cherries. So I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse and get this stuff planted. Side note too, I was going to do like a multi-sowing technique this year where you put lots of seeds of a certain variety in one pot and then separate them out later. I don't really have that many of any individual seed that I'm going to be planting. I'm really just having 2 of each plant. Some things like the ground cherries, I'm doing 8, but still I don't think this is the year for that. So I'm just gonna do 1 plant per pot, and I'm gonna get to it right now. A lot of you are probably wondering what the heck I'm looking at on my phone. I'm actually just watching Ryan Hall right now. I know a lot of people are probably aware about the severe weather happening at the end of this week. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Friday is when it's potentially going to hit here. It's why it's going to be overnight. It's why I'm a little bit anxious about Shvenny giving birth, but she's going to be okay. I probably won't be in the barn in a severe weather situation, but I'll be watching her from the baby monitor, which I do need to go move now that all of the seeds are planted. So ordinarily I would put a humidity dome over the seeds that I've started, but I don't normally actually start my seeds in the greenhouse. It's actually warm enough right now where I don't have to start my seeds inside. It's kind of amazing. And so the greenhouse itself is basically a humidity dome, and so these guys are going to stay nice and moist at least through tomorrow until I can check on them on Saturday and possibly give them a little bit more water. But we got a lot planted today and there's a lot more to come. But things like cucumbers and melons and squash and stuff, I'm not going to be starting those right now. And a lot of those things I don't even put in start pots. So I just put in pots what needs about 6 to 8 weeks, or what can handle about 6 to 8 weeks until I am able to put it outside. All of this stuff is frost tender. And if we do happen to see a night that's going to be freezing, I can potentially leave it in the greenhouse. It just kind of depends on the sunlight situation. I can also pull these inside, either in our Homestead overflow shed or in my house under lights. So you might be wondering, Heather, why aren't you just moving the goat to one of the kidding stalls that's closer to the camera? That stall that's closest to the wall is actually a lot bigger. It's about a foot wider, and she is a standard sized goat, and I'd like to give her as much space as possible to have her babies. So I thought about putting my standard sized goats in the milking parlor in order to labor and give birth. Problem being, I haven't exactly cleaned this up and set it up to where I'm comfortable leaving a goat over there just free range, and we are getting some weather tonight, and I don't want her to be open to like this much area. I really would like my goats to have the ability to get out of the weather, and it's just harder to do in that part of the barn. So I'm gonna take down the camera and move it, and I'm gonna try to point it straight down into that bigger kidding stall. That should do it. I just need to plug it in. So I can't quite see the whole kidding stall. It's kind of zoomed in pretty far, but this is going to be more than sufficient for me to keep track of what's going on from inside my house. I've had a couple people ask me about what type of baby monitor we use to monitor the goats in the barn, and this is a really old summer infant model of baby monitor. It's not connected to the internet or anything. It wouldn't matter if it did connect to the internet. We don't get Wi-Fi at our house, but we've had this baby monitor for 11 years. We've had it since before we had our first baby, and so this has done very well for us, and we don't need it for babies anymore, so it's in commission for the barn. And it's actually not the only thing that our kids have used in the past that is now used for the farm. So kind of a funny situation. This is the baby crib that all of my babies used when they were babies, and we almost didn't move our baby crib to this property because our youngest was 18 months old and he had a big boy bed. But then it dawned on me that all I had to do was surround it with some wire and it could be a really awesome chick brooder, and that is what this crib does for us. I actually have 57 new birds in this brooder right now, and they're 57 Coturnix quail. I had mulled over in my mind doing another series. I was going to do a quail raising series, a lot like my raising rabbits series, but the quail that I have right now were just dropped off today from one of my friends who raises quail locally, and these guys are nearly 3 weeks old, so they're pretty much out of the brooder stage. They're only going to be in this space for about a week until I can get their cage situated in the barn. So my question to you is, do you guys still want me to do a quail raising series, even though I can't show you from, you know, fuzzy tiny baby chick? Do you still want to see from about 3 weeks weeks on, I can talk about what to do for baby chicks. I just can't exactly show you. My friend doesn't have any more eggs in the incubator, and with there being 57 in here, I probably won't need any more chicks for a couple years. And so let me know down in the comments below if that's something you're interested in still, even though I don't have real baby chicks. In any case though, keep a close watch on the channel. Shvenny and Tempest are going to be giving birth really soon. I actually kind of hope that Shvenly holds off for this severe weather to pass, but I kind of doubt that she's going to.